While Washington, D.C. seems to be embroiled in multiple sex scandals with Democrats resigning almost a daily occurrence, let's take a closer look at the real political scandal that's been brewing this past year. And no, I'm not talking about Russian collusion, but the Obama administration's alleged spying on their political opponents involved in the Trump campaign and Trump transition team. Let's quickly refresh what we already know. Fusion GPS is a political consulting firm run by two former Wall Street Journal reporters who the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee paid to compile the fake news Trump dossier. You know, the one that BuzzFeed published with all those salacious and false stories about the president and what he did in a hotel room in Russia that the Obamas allegedly previously stayed in. The dossier was compiled by Christopher Steele, a former British spy who used unverified Kremlin sources to complete the dossier. Well, if you recall, President Trump put out this widely mocked tweet on March 7th. Quote, "Terrible! Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism." Unquote. What we now know 9 months to the day after that tweet is in his final days in office, President Obama signed 3 executive orders that allowed the intelligence community greater ability to share information. We also know that the fake news Steele dossier was used by the FBI to further their investigation into the Trump transition officials, including Carter Page, as both CNN and the Washington Post reported back in April. Now, according to the Washington Times, just this week, Blackwater founder and short-lived Trump campaign advisor Eric Prince told the House Intelligence Committee that he was put under illegal surveillance by the Obama administration during its final days. And all of this is part of the same investigation triggered by that fake news dossier. So, with at least 2 U.S. citizens under investigation and placed under surveillance who were involved in the Trump transition or Trump campaign, the FBI has still not explained to anyone, nobody, why or if they paid for this Steele dossier. Now, new FBI Director Christopher Wray was just on the Hill in front of committee today, so just watch as Wray tries to explain to Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis why he won't reveal why or how the FBI used that dossier.
There are some topics where, even though the information is classified, we can and do and will share it with the committees in an appropriate setting. And then there are some topics that go straight to, even though it's not just a question of classification, that goes straight to access to sensitive sources and methods, which is something that all of us as Americans have to take very, very seriously.
The chairman of the Intelligence Committee has a right to that, and you won't even produce it to the chairman of the Intelligence Committee. So here's the problem. Whether Strzok was involved in this, that needs to be disclosed to Congress. Whether the dossier was used to generate surveillance with a FISA court on a Trump associate, that needs to be disclosed to Congress. I don't care about the sources and methods beyond. We know where the sources and methods. It was the Democratic Party paying Fusion GPS to get the dossier. So we know that. The question is, how did your organization use it? You weren't there during that time, but if they were getting this information from a political party and then using it for surveillance against an opposition party candidate, that's a problem. Do you agree that that would be a problem for the American people?
I do agree, Congressman, that any inappropriate use of the FISA process for political purposes is something that we should all be very concerned about and take very seriously.
So we need the answers to that. It's very, very important.
It's hard to know if Wray is going to clean up what we now know to be serious bias within the top levels of the FBI and those who were heavily involved in not only Special Counsel Mueller's Russia probe and the FBI's own Russia probe, but also the Clinton email investigation. Our own John Cardillo has reported on just how corrupt both the Special Counsel investigation and the FBI look at this very moment. Something that is well worth the watch if you have the chance. So right now, as we see it, the only hope is that maybe some of these Republican members of Congress, like DeSantis, like Trey Gowdy, and Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, to get to the bottom of all of this. Nunes has been using his subpoena power to compel the FBI and the Justice Department to reveal their motives. Why did they launch this Trump-Russia investigation to begin with? And what, if any, role did that fake news Steele dossier have in that investigation and the surveilling of American citizens through FISA warrants? The investigation was launched in July of 2016 by the Obama administration. And still, nearly a year and a half later, we have no solid evidence of Russian collusion with the Trump campaign. But what we do have is plenty of evidence that the Democrats spied and surveilled their political opponents, and the special counsel and FBI are becoming so partisan and maybe even corrupted by anti-Trump, pro-Clinton sentiments right at the top. For the Rebel.Media, I'm Christopher Wilson. You just can't rely on the fake news media to give you the truth about the Russia investigation or the FBI paying for that Steele dossier. So make sure you click subscribe on Rebel Media's YouTube channel. Never miss an update.